I'm Tommy Fight.
And I'm Mercedes Javid.
And we're the hosts of Till the Dirt.
On our show, we talk about life.
Your life.
Our life.
Relationships.
Your relationship.
Our relationship.
You may already know us from Bravo's Straws of Sunset, but there's still so much more to be told and tea.
Listen to Till the Dirt on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, thems and theys, welcome to a new episode of What's Your Issue? My name is James Lipton.
And I'm Bradley Cooper.
Bradley, what's your favorite curse word?
Oh, man. Fuck.
Yeah. The whole audience.
Ah, he said it! He said it!
Dara, how are you?
I mean, how am I? Well, we've got my pile of clean laundry that's been sitting there for 24 hours behind me. Just quickly closed out of 1 million tabs, searching things like supplements for skin elasticity, works as fast as possible, things like that. Other than the midlife crisis, I'm doing okay. How are you?
So basically, you're extremely on brand for you.
Yeah, I guess like same is what the shorter answer would be. How am I doing? Same.
Yeah. Well, we all know how I'm doing. I mean, Oh my God. Just to give you guys a little how the sausage is made moment. I'm in a hotel. Don't ask why. But I couldn't get internet. I was in a dead zone room and I couldn't get internet connection. So I went downstairs and I pounded my fist on the desk because the girl at the front desk was ignoring my call. So I had to go down there and I was like, listen.
She was ignoring your call too?
Yeah. I called like 8 times and she let it ring for a really long time. And I go down there and she obviously could see what room number was calling. And I go down to the front desk and I go, hi. She's just standing there, not doing anything, not helping anyone. And I was like, I just paid like $20 for internet. It's not working. I tested it. It was a horrible connection. What do I do? And I go, do you guys have Ethernet cords? Because I've stayed on tour. I've stayed at hotels where I have to podcast and I ask for an Ethernet cord and they always have it. And she laughs in my face and goes, no.
I'll kill her.
We don't have stuff like. So they had to move me to another room. I had to do a test call with Dara in another room. And here we are. Like, God willing, this makes it to the end.
I'm excited to talk about what we've got today. It was worth the trouble, hopefully.
Actually, I'm gonna say I think that it was, and I'm really excited for it too. I'm just gonna fucking go for it.
Go for it, Daddy.
Dara, what is your issue?
My issue is the New York Times Magazine article. Here is what happens when you cast Lindsay Lohan in your movie. This is from January 2013. And this was suggested to us.
Yes, this was suggested to us. We've had a few people send this in, but our mutual internet friend Sophie sent it to us, and we both love her. She's our North Star.
Shout out all the way to Norway.
All the way to Norway, who I lovingly refer to as Norway's Kim Kardashian. She suggested this, and I was like, you know what? This is like, it is time for us to talk about this.
I can't believe it's taken us this long. I feel like we've sort of been saving it, for a special occasion. And what's more special than just getting to wake up and live another day, to talk about Lindsay Lohan?
Now, I have to ask you, what is your relationship with the Canyons? Like, when did you see it? Did you see it when it came out? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Like, what do you think about this movie?
Well, of course, 2013, did it come out in 2013 or was it later? I feel like it came out later. I I mean, the canyons had such a lead up because there was such an internet presence just like surrounding the making of the movie, because it was a Kickstarter, and this was before Veronica Mars Kickstarter and Zach Braff Kickstarter. So it was kind of early days of crowdfunding. And there was a lot of just internet talk from the production throughout the making of it. So I feel like there was a lot of lead up. So I was excited about it. I was, of course, praying for a Lohan comeback. And then it came out, and I gotta say, with this film, I've seen it maybe 3 times. I saw it when it came out. I saw it a couple years ago, maybe. And then I sort of buzzed through it today. And I had to buzz through it today because for some reason, after watching it twice over the years, like, it never made an imprint on me. So I didn't love the movie. It didn't feel that memorable, but I had an interesting time watching some scenes after reading so much about it, rereading the article, and then just like reading some other stuff about it. I had a different appreciation for the movie. What about you, Troy?
Yeah, I guess same. Honestly, I completely forgot that it was like a crowd-funded movie. I forgot that was like such a big, huge part of it, and it came at a time in Lindsay's life when I think that this like might be one of, if not her lowest point.
Yes, I was gonna say the same thing.
It's like, I mean, just to put it into context, so the movie did come out in 2013, and Lindsay's own series with Oprah was just the following year. So all of the stuff that in that own series that she's like trying to fight against this is like the lead up to her doing the own series and like trying to revive her career. So she's in a really low point. And I just remember, all the conversation around her being uninsurable, and it was like she was, basically like, if you cast Lindsay Lohan, like, your project is ruined. Like, she'll ruin the project. She'll fight with you. She won't show up. Like, she'll be difficult. She'll be drunk. Like, it was just like every bad thing will happen. She was like a curse to a set. So that was like kind of, I just remember all of that. To be honest, I think that the lore surrounding the movie is more interesting than the movie. Like, the movie itself is kind of it's an interesting watch when you know the backstory, but it's not
good.
It's not good. It's not even I Know Who Killed Me. It's not like fun to watch. Like,
it's quite boring.
It's really boring. It feels really sort of like when we're gonna get into how like this set was just like a mess, and they were like changing vibes on the fly, and nobody was really in charge like everybody thought they were. You can tell. It feels misdirected, misguided, kind of lost. There's no real direction. And it's like, there's just not a lot there.
Yeah, it was made with $250,000. I think it looks, for that amount of money, that is such little money. What they were able to accomplish was not bad, considering. But yeah, the script is really terrible. It's just sort of nothing. It's very one-dimensional. They end up really focusing way too much on James Dean. And he is not talented. So his scenes are just feel so flat. When Lindsay's around, I mean, I think Lindsay's actually pretty good in this movie.
There was a real chauvinist slant on how this movie was talked about, because everybody was like, making fun of her acting and saying she was really bad and that she looked ugly, and like all this emphasis on like her body not being what it was. And even in the article that we're going to read, they say like, her green eyes that once lit up a room are now covered in bags. And like, but like when you rewatch this movie, Lindsay is the only thing keeping this movie afloat. James Dean he's acting like a porn star. Like his acting is porn acting. And like, God bless him, he hadn't done anything else besides porn. So it's like, he's doing porn acting on this movie. And Lindsay is the thing that keeps it. Like, I wouldn't have watched this movie even if it was another actress in it that I loved, I wouldn't have been able to sit through 5 minutes of this if it weren't for her.
No, they talk about it in the article a little bit, about how much focus is put on James Dean in the movie, just even like the shots. And then they say later that Steven Soderbergh offered to recut the movie before it came out. He said to Paul Schrader, the director, like, give me 72 hours and all the footage. Let me recut it. And I wonder how much better it would have been, because I think if they cut around James Dean more, it at least maybe wouldn't have dragged so much. Like if we had just given it more to Lindsay, I don't know. I wonder how it maybe would have. It still wouldn't have been good, I don't think, but it might have been better.
Well, for whatever reason, the director is like really, really, just like he loves James Dean. Like he really is just like, James is going to be this movie's heart and soul. And I just don't understand. It's like, do you just want to fuck him? Like, what's going on?
It feels like it's that, because I don't understand the hold he had over everyone.
Well, let's talk about James Dean for a second before we get into it.
Yeah, let's set the stage. Let's put out the cast of characters here.
Were you familiar with James Dean when this movie came out?
I was aware of him because so it says in the article that James Dean was cast for The Canyons through this Profile for Good magazine by Amanda Hess. And it's just basically about how like there's this new porn star in town, and he has all these teenage girl fans, and he doesn't look like other porn stars. So I knew about him, and I knew like the Tumblr lore and all of that stuff as he was getting cast. So I was not a fan. I was not a fan though, but I was interested in the sort of lore surrounding him. What about you? Were you aware of him by
Very
this point?
much. I was very aware of James Dean. He was very famous to me. So yeah, James Dean. So I really, really figured out like the lore of James Dean when I did, like literally probably 8 years ago. I did an episode on the Smush Room. About James Dean and Farrah Abraham's sex tape, because I've just always been interested in like the backstory of sex tapes and how they come to be. And theirs is insanity. We redid it on Beyond the Blinds, actually, where it's like TMZ is involved and Vivid, and Farrah's lying about the tape being stolen, and James doesn't know she's a reality star. So he's doing TMZ interviews saying it was a great set and amazing shoot. And like, it was just crazy. And that's when I learned that James Dean is to this day the most female recognized male porn star. He is the female Jenna Jameson, if you will. He is like, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's like the most famous porn star.
Yes. Who's a boy? For women.
For women.
Women. So like, women know James Dean immediately when they look at him, whereas like that was like never really a thing up until him. Like you had niche porn stars, like even in like the Black community and stuff, that people knew through like music videos, and like Mr. Marcus was known because of like Corinne Steffen's book, Diary of a Video Vixen. But like James Dean was like really, really, really famous, and he has this like boy next door thing. All the women love him because he's like unassuming, he looks really sweet, but then he like chokes you during sex, and like there was like almost kind of a 50 Shades of Grey thing about him. But then unfortunately we learn, and it's so funny, there's so much lore building. Like you could tell he was like, I want to be a fucking star, because he's building lore all over the place. And it was like, it worked for him for a while. But then all this stuff came out from all these porn stars, and it was not just a couple. It was like over a dozen porn stars that were like, he is a rapist. Like, he's not even just aggressive. He is like, he's sadistic. He hates women. He's like a violator. Like he's like really an intense, scary person.
Well, the other, I think, big revelation next to that was he was perceived as this feminist, but the woman who wrote the first profile about him that like really broke him on the internet, she wrote another profile in 2015 for, I think, Slate, and she was talking about him in hindsight, and she was saying how for whatever reason women like decided that he was a feminist, even though throughout the years people would ask him about like, are you a feminist, and he would be like, no. Like he was nice. Like he did his, like he would put out a sort of nice guy shtick of, oh, you know, I'm good with boundaries and things like that. But it was really like he just looked a certain way. And he also, his girlfriends that ended up accusing him of assault and everything, they were kind of, you know, the thinking woman's porn star. They were big feminists. So it kind of made him seem like, oh, he must be too. But it did really end his career, though. It was kind of swift in a way that I feel like you don't see often.
Yeah, like overnight, it was like he was just gone. And it's crazy. I agree with you. It felt like a lot of what people thought about him was a projection, like specifically what women thought about him was them projecting all these ideas of like, oh my God, finally, like the perfect male porn star and like porn that we can get into that like for whatever reason, women felt comfortable being open about watching his movies where, you know, women maybe didn't feel comfortable about being honest about porn. It was like, no, like we're all watching James Dean. And yeah, it was crazy. It was like really nuts. And then just the idea that he could act like another projection. Like there are no signs that this man could pull off being the lead in a movie.
Yeah. Well, in the article, and I found this really interesting. So at this point, when he's getting cast in the canyons, when he's shooting the canyons, like he's in full nice guy. Everybody thinks he is, you know, boy next door. But Bret Easton Ellis, who wrote The Canyons, he says something that is just, it is very prophetic. He says, but Bret Easton Ellis didn't see Dean as harmless. He wrote the script with Dean in his head for the role of Christian, a classic Ellis sociopathic trust funder, convinced there, quote, was a devil behind the Jewish boy next door cute guy.
And the irony that his character in that movie is like this guy who's like really cute and hot. And but he's like sadistic and he's like controlling and he like basically like makes Lindsay's character have sex with men in front of him. Like she like has to have sex with anybody that he brings home. It's like that's like literally him. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting that Bret saw that in him. The gay man is always going to be the one to see through it.
It's true.
But then in 2015, when all the allegations come out, Bret does this interview where he vehemently supports James Dean and is like, these women are lying. He's the best person in the world. It's like, babe, don't you remember that you based like your classic Bret Easton Ellis sociopath character off of this man? But
you know what? What's so crazy is like Lindsay hated him, which we will talk about. Like there are so many moments of the production of this movie where she's like, I don't want him in this movie. I don't like him. And they all gaslight her. Like she's like being difficult or whatever, which she was being difficult. And she was like, you know, holding up the set and not showing up and all the classic Lindsay stuff. But she was very adamant that she didn't want to work with this guy. And she even brought, you know, a list of men that she would rather have the part and stuff. And they were like trying to act like she was just being like annoying and crazy. And it's like, well, maybe she was onto something.
yeah. Well, do you remember the audio recording that leaked of Lindsay talking?
Yes, I'm obsessed.
What are you doing? Because you're hugging. So it's actually doing the same. They're like this, yeah? But you're holding me? No? Okay, let's act. Come on. I know it's for fun for you, but let's do it.
And action rehearsal.
What's your line say? No, can you do it? Please, James, say your line as you're walking over. So we're doing rehearsal with lines. Are we not?
I can say my line.
Are you doing your job?
Until you started talking over.
I didn't say anything as you just went on.
All right.
Do your job.
All right, I'm glad, but I'm sorry.
Oh, bye. Thank you.
I'm
I love it.
obsessed.
Okay, so she's an actress working with someone who's never acted before except for in porn. She doesn't want him there. But as much as she is troubled Lindsay throughout all of this, I do feel like she really cares about the movie. And you can see in the article moments of her being sort of sentient and really caring about how things come out and having a lot of ideas. I don't know. I'm an apologist.
No, I think she desperately wanted this movie to be good. And I think that she
Yeah.
really took it home with her. I think it had a really big impact on her emotionally. And I just think life gets in the way when it comes to her. And they do a lot of interesting, I don't know, what word would I use to describe this? Not world, I guess, world building for where Lindsay is mentally at this time. And it is a continuation of the OWN series. It's a lot of jargon and I just want to be on set and I just want to act. And, she says this thing at the end of the article where she's like, when all hell has been broken loose and they've done the movie and they've gone through all this trauma and the director is just like, my God, that was such a fucking crazy thing to go through. And she's crying and she says, I've never really learned what to do with myself when I'm not acting. I don't know how to live if I'm not on set. And it really fills in the empty spaces when you hear her constantly saying I just want to be on set. I just want to be acting. I just want to be on set. And she thinks that being on set means stability, happiness, achieving all the things. When in reality, it's her being on set is just like a plug until it's unplugged and then she's not on set,
Yeah. I feel like this was a moment where it was the last moment before she fully went off. And she was kind of just off the deep end for a long time because it says it took 2 months and the quasi-intervention of Lohan's father to get Lohan to finish 2 hours of looping for the outdoor scenes. In the interim, Lohan punched a psychic, was accused of hitting a pedestrian in New York, was under investigation by the IRS, and watched her parents melt down on a very special episode of Dr. Phil.
It's so oh my God. And then there's a really, really dark moment where they're filming an abuse scene in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to be James Dean is supposed to be physically violent with her, but he's not giving it enough. And the director has to step in and be do it like this. So then James does it and he really goes hard and throws her down to the ground really hard. And the whole set stops and they're oh my God, that was too far. And she gets up and she's let's do it again. And then when she walks off set, she says something I've had a lot of practice from my dad. And they all ignore it and pretend that they didn't hear her say it.
Oh, my Lindsay. They do say though, I don't know if you read this other article that I sent you. It was basically the response to this article.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from Bret Easton Ellis's producing partner. And he does say that they actually never fully
Mm-hmm.
missed a day of shooting. They still started on time and they ended on time. So she wasn't that bad.
She only was each time they talk about it, she's 15 to 20 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the longest that they say she was 20 minutes late out of the whole production.
Except for the night after her Lady Gaga sleepover.
Okay, before we get into the Lady Gaga sleepover, can we just talk really quickly about the first day of table read? Because I love this.
Yes,
so
the
first table read, Lindsay is late, obviously, and they were basically the notion was if we decide they had this other French actress on deck that they were like, if Lindsay fucks this up, we have this other girl. But the fear was that once they started filming, she would then have all the power because they didn't have the money to just like start over. So then Lindsay would be in the driver's seat if they decided to go with her and like really start filming this movie. So they're all scared about the first table read because it's like, this is it. Like, we've decided now that she's the one and like she could fuck this all up. So they say a few months after the Chateau Marmont meeting, the cast gathering at Pretty Bird Studios in Culver City for the first read-through of the script. At the head of the table was, is it Schrader? Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah. We should also say that Paul Schrader, the director, he directed Taxi Driver. He's a legit director. Taxi Driver, if you don't know that, is, well.
To not know that is to not know Jodie Foster, which is to not know anything in life.
Go on.
But so they're all at the table, and to his left is Ellis, who wrote the movie. Pope sat at the far end. The actors filtered in and took their seats, and there was just one missing, Lohan. So Schrader welcomed everyone and then opened with, Lindsay said she couldn't make it today, and I told her that was fine, but I have an actress in Paris waiting by the phone. He paused, and the room tittered. She's on her way. Killing time, Dean kept looking at his phone. Meanwhile, Nolan Funk, a pompadoured Canadian cast to play the weak link in the film's love triangle, scrunched his brow and read the script quietly to himself. About 20 minutes later, Lohan arrived with a tiny assistant in tow. She smiled nervously and took her seat, adjusting her floral peasant skirt, rattling her bangles. Hi, everybody. Schrader gave her an impatient, paternal look, and then started talking about the film, but Ellis and Funk were distracted. Across the table, Funk could see that his name had been crossed out in Lindsay's script, and underneath were the names of 3 or 4 actors as replacements. Ellis saw that Dean's name had also had a line through it. Lohan's private doubts did not diminish her public enthusiasm. She had 1,000 thoughts. Rejection for an actress is formative, Lindsay snorted and laughed. Well, it's nothing like going to jail, I can tell you that. She's like working the table. The usually poker face Ellis cracked a wry smile. Well, that's also formative. Schrader mentioned that he was still trying to cast the psychiatrist, a small but pivotal role. Lohan squealed and said, how about Jared? The screenwriter Brett Easton Ellis, Jeff Minton from the New York Times, Schrader nodded approvingly. Jared Harris? And she goes, no, Jared Leto. Like, shows up late.
I love it.
Recasting the movie.
Okay, another very funny part about that in the response article in Vanity Fair, the producer Braxton Pope, he kind of goes through some of the accusations and gives context to what happened, or like what he says like really happened or whatever. And in response to that part, he says she wasted no time exhuming from a luxury bag a well-thumbed script, dog-eared and heavily annotated. Lindsay likes making lists. I still have her suggestions of musical artists and songs for the soundtrack, neatly handwritten on a complimentary pad of hotel paper. And then it says, in the Malibu house where we shot, we had a bedroom dedicated for her hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and that's where she would retreat between scenes. Within minutes of her arrival, racks of clothes would be scattered across the room, lists generated and discarded, a swarm of activity instigated. God. And I just bring that up to say the Lindsay Lohan fuck list.
Ay caramba. Yeah.
I never knew until, because I had never read this article before, I never knew that she was a list maker by trade, by hobby. And I thought that the Lindsay Lohan fuck list, of course, where she wrote down every man that she had sex with on a piece of Parcheesi game paper at the chateau.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that this was her way of doing things.
She's a listicle type girl.
She's a listicle type gal. She's a real BuzzFeed gal, you know?
I guess we should also mention she technically was fired.
Yes.
She was fired. It wasn't like they just kept putting up with her shit. Like, I think that they fired her initially to scare her enough that she would just like act right for the rest of the. But at the very
Yeah.
beginning, they say filming was scheduled to start in less than a week, so Schrader arranged for Dean and Lindsay to meet at Pretty Bird to map out the movie sex scenes. Lohan canceled the first day, but promised that she'd be there the next morning, a Sunday. She never showed. So Schrader and Pope texted and left her a message on her phone. There was no answer. Schrader thought about what he should do. Right now, he had the upper hand, which again, I was saying, like, they have the upper hand because they haven't started filming yet. Schrader, he said, but once they start shooting, he would lose his power. So Lohan could hold up the entire production hostage. So he fired her. He went back to his room at the Orlando Hotel in Beverly Hills and left it to Pope to deliver the bad news. Pope finally reached Lindsay, telling her that she was done. She began crying and begged for another chance. Pope told her that Schrader had made up his mind. So Lohan headed for Orlando. She I'm assuming erratically drove there with a cigarette. She pounded on the door until she found Schrader's room. So she's pounding on random people's room doors. As she banged on his door, she texted him manically. Schrader could hear her crying, but he wouldn't let her in. He texted her and said, "Lindsay, go home." The hotel manager rang up to ask if he could call the police on her. Schrader told him not to. He sat down in his bed and Lindsay stayed out in the hall sobbing for another 90 minutes. She sobbed outside his door until she finally left. Like,
Can you imagine being in the room next to him?
you know what I was thinking about though, about that's so crazy? Is like that, unfortunately, especially at that time, was like just really another day for her. Like,
Oh, yeah.
her showing up at his hotel screaming outside the room, having the police maybe called, being told to go home. Like, that's like such common Lindsay Lohan
Mm-hmm.
fodder for that time.
Yeah.
Like, that was just like her day.
Just a typical day, making lists, screaming in hotels.
And it's like kind of sad too, because she was like
Yeah.
so dependent on this movie, you know?
Yeah, I will say my favorite line in this article is, so they're talking about like their nerves of actually like having her do this, like will she be able to do it? Because she's complaining about the director of Liz and Dick, the Elizabeth Taylor Lifetime movie that she starred in, and she was talking shit about that director, and then he goes, "You're going to turn on me." The actress touched his arm softly. "Come on, Paul, that won't happen." He chose to believe her. That summer, he developed a pet line to steal the less brave. Quote, "We don't have to save her," Schrader said. "We just have to get her through 3 weeks in July." A month later, Schrader would be standing naked in a Malibu bedroom, missing his dogs and trying to coax Lindsay out of her robe. Turns out 3 weeks can be a very long time.
God. Her grabbing his arm and saying that is so sinister because she knows that she's going to.
100%.
It's so dark. She's like, "Oh no, I won't burn this bridge."
No. Who, me? Oh, the papers got it wrong.
You mean much too much to me. I also, I loved it. I forgot to mention this about with the whole her being fired thing. So they hired her back, like, it must have been like the next day or something that she got the job back. And this reminded me so much of her own series. It says she explained that she missed the meeting at Pretty Bird because she had been discussing the script with Nolan Funk until 3 a.m. And then she took a sleeping pill. Schrader laid down the law. One more meltdown and you're gone. If she thought she was unhireable now, just wait until he threw her off of a micro-budget film. Schrader thought Lohan's weakness wasn't drugs, although this is the part. This is like bone chilling.
Oh, yeah.
Schrader thought Lohan's weakness wasn't drugs, although he counseled her on her math of when to take sleeping aids. He said, but her fear of being alone. She needed people and chaos around her 24/7. The idea of being by herself scared the hell out of her. And that is Lindsay Lohan wrapped up in a bow.
Yeah.
Perfectly described. I mean, 10 years ago, I coined the term Lohan disorder, and that is exactly what the fuck I meant. Like, the addiction to chaos is such an interesting thing to watch.
And her not wanting to be alone. I remember I knew this woman. This was around like 2017 or something. And I believe she was friends with one of Lindsay's assistants. And there was one night where she was with the assistant, and then she ended up, I forget the logistics, but somehow this woman that I knew ended up like in a hotel room with Lindsay because she couldn't be alone. She didn't want to be alone. So she had to just like stay with her all night, and they watched old Lindsay movies.
With Lindsay?
And like Lindsay wouldn't let her leave until like I think the assistant left for a little bit, and she didn't want her to leave until the assistant came. Like she didn't want to be alone for even a minute.
Dara, can you imagine us in that like position? I'd be like, where do you even want to start? Like at the beginning? Should we start with your McDonald's commercial?
Like, please, this is now a Lindsay Lohan film festival.
Yeah, like, girl, you ain't got to ask me to go. If anything, you'll be begging me to leave. I will literally be dragged out of here and my nails will come off. Like, I will literally have to be thrown out of a window to get out of here.
We were the 100% wrong people to ever be allowed around Lindsay. We would have been just such toxic enablers.
What movie would you ask her to play?
That's a tough one, actually. I know that she watched The Parent Trap, and I think they watched Mean Girls. I feel like I remember that. I feel like The Parent Trap would be interesting, but maybe I would want to watch I Know Who Killed Me. Or Georgia Rule.
Mine is Georgia Rule. That's my favorite Lindsay Lohan movie.
Yeah. And I would want to hear the sort of backstory of everything.
See, the manipulator in me would watch something that I know she's proud of, but isn't like talked about to death. Like I would never want to watch Mean Girls with her.
Oh,
because it's like, my God. But I would want to watch Georgia Rule. And you know what else I would maybe choose? And being completely manipulative? Prairie Home Companion.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hello.
You could be very manipulative with that one. Oh my God, Lindsay, like you and Meryl, like you are Meryl, really.
I mean, what was it like to be in a movie with Meryl and Lily Tomlin? Like, God, I mean, it is like, I would genuinely have so many questions. And I think that I would be scared to choose I Know Who Killed Me, only because she always talks about how dark the time was in her life. So I'd be scared to like.
That's a good point.
But God, it would be so fun.
I would want her in her best headspace. So I think I would go with like The Parent Trap because I think he considers that like a good time and whatever. Or, how do you think Teenage Drama Queen would sit with her?
Oh, you know what? That would be really fun because she doesn't get to talk about that as much as she talks about Mean Girls.
And it's sort of the beginning of her career. Like, it's like her adult life began there. It's maybe a better time in her life before everything, when the world was in front of her.
I think that would throw her off in a good way. That and like Just My Luck, I think would throw her off in like a fun way.
Ooh, yeah. Or what about Freaky Friday, I think would put her in a very good mood. Yeah. And you can talk to her about how she had to learn the instruments and boop, 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 boop.
And like Jamie Lee Curtis is a mom to her. And yeah, I think that might put her in the best headspace. Like she loves talking about Freaky Friday. I just think she like, I always talk about, whenever I've like recorded about her, I would just find it really interesting that she, kind of forces this like maternal thing with women that she acts with, like Tina Fey, Amy.
Yeah.
Meryl like refused to do it. Like I remember reading about how they were like, was Lindsay a daughter to
magazine.
You?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. And she was like, no, she wasn't a daughter to me at all. She
I
was
have
an actor.
daughters.
Yeah. She wouldn't let them do the thing that they do. But Jamie Lee Curtis was like, no, baby, I am your mother. I am your mom.
I'm your
mother.
Mommy.
Yeah, like you can suckle my tea. I am your mom.
I hope no one was, who comes here for the journalism didn't I hope you enjoyed us going through what movies we would manipulate Lindsay Lohan with.
I mean, listen, there's so much in this article. We could talk about this for 7 straight hours. Like, should we talk about the Lindsay or the Lady Gaga night?
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, so as we sort of teased before, this was the day that she was just like the most useless to everyone, that she missed this day. Because she was up the night before partying with Lady Gaga, having a sleepover. And it says in the article, the next morning, Lohan was scheduled to shoot at Cafe Med, a West Hollywood restaurant. But when I arrived, Pope was on the verge of panic. Lindsay was out with Lady Gaga till 5:30 a.m. Her call time was 6. By 9 a.m., Lohan was lying down in a Cafe Med booth with her hands over her eyes, shading them from imaginary sunlight. The production had the restaurant only until 11. Schrader paced, breathing heavily. A doctor arrived and took Lohan's blood pressure. He walked over to Pope and Schrader. His diagnosis, an inner ear infection. She was done for the day. Schrader didn't buy it.
He's like, that's her doctor. He'll say anything. It's so true, though.
Oh, 100%.
She's like, say that I have an inner ear infection and I'll give you a rail.
And then in the Vanity Fair article, the producer says, there was only one day of shooting that we had to abort, which, frankly, I blame on Lady Gaga, who was socializing with Lindsay at the chateau into the wee hours. This sort of occurrence happens when you are Lindsay. Lindsay's assistant informed me the next morning that Gaga wanted to come visit the set that day, but with Lindsay prostrate on a banquette at the cafe where we were scheduled to shoot a scene, we couldn't proceed.
Love it. I'm obsessed. The X17 article, they actually leave out in the real article that she was hanging out with not only just Lady Gaga, but Ellen von Untworth and Lana Del Rey. So Lindsay, Lana, Gaga, and Ellen von Untworth, and Ellen was like photographing them be like playful, if you will, with each other. That to me, it says they were watching old movies and playing board games at the slumber party. The three of them had dinner in the garden on Tuesday night at the chateau. And then Lindsay and Gaga ran upstairs to play dress up, and they came down in different outfits. And Gaga tweeted, Lindsay Lohan, when you ordered a cucumber and a knife to the bar last night, I thought you were going to perform a vasectomy. Hashtag just a skinny bitch. I'm like, I am obsessed. I'm obsessed.
Now, it also says they were watching old movies, and I'm dying to know, was it Lindsay's? I feel like it could have been.
Oh my God. I mean, with those women like Lana, Gaga, and I mean, the curation, the taste, I can't eat. They probably watched fucking Lolita or something really dark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the lore. I've said this before, that, people say pop culture died in 2009. I think pop culture died in like 2014 because
Me too.
Lindsay was giving us daily blog posts to check in on. There's something new every day.
I don't think that that's a joke. I legitimately do think 2013, 2014 was it. I think that was the actual year that it died. Like, early Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it died with Instagram.
Yeah. Once Instagram became not social and just like to flex, it died. That was it.
And then soon after this, Lindsay gets kicked out of the chateau because she has ran up like a $45,000 bill.
Yeah. This is like her last. And it's crazy to think we did that chateau article about her living there, and to think like while this movie's being filmed, all that stuff is happening in her room. Like the dog shit and the cigarette burns and the fecal matter stains all over the carpets and just like unimaginable like Little Edie Grey Gardens level filth is happening like in her home.
Oh yeah, the lore around this movie is incredible, and it's so so much better than the actual movie.
I'm obsessed with the end of the article where Lindsay, so like they bring in extras because there's like group sex scenes in this movie. There's like a scene where James Dean wants her to have sex with like 3 or 4 people, and they just kept bringing in porn stars to do the acting. And Lindsay
Well,
was
this is like the climax really of the article. Because, okay, so they have a 4-way sex scene, and it's her and James Dean, and then a girl and a guy, porn actors. And in the very beginning of the article, they talk about like the stipulations for Lindsay to do the movie. And one of them is it's in her contract. She has to do this 4-way sex scene.
yeah.
It's non-negotiable. But yeah, like they feel the need to hire porn stars, which clearly makes her uncomfortable.
Rightfully so. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, like she's and like it's not like this is some fucking Steven Spielberg movie that she's not allowed to have input on. This is like a crowd-funded $200,000 movie that everybody is like white-knuckling it to get through. So she's basically saying, I already didn't want to work with James Dean. I don't
Yeah.
want to work with a bunch of porn stars. Like, it's just not the vibe. So it says, Gavin explained that Lohan was uneasy working with porn stars and actually, truth be told, was uneasy working with Dean. Schrader lost it. The thing that's going to explode this film is James Dean! Lohan screamed from the back of the closet. That's what I'm afraid of! Schrader walks away. He waited another hour. He went back to talk to Lindsay again, this time as bad cop. Gavin wouldn't let him all the way in. Oh, and her like publicist is on set, and he's just like a gross little Joe Pesci fucker from what they describe.
I love the publicist.
Yeah, he's like, there's another really funny quote that I want to read from him before we end. But Gavin wouldn't let them all the way in, so he yelled through the door, "You signed a contract and you knew that this was coming." Another hour passes, and Lohan eventually moves to the bed but wouldn't remove her robe. Schrader worried that the early morning sunlight would be streaming throughout the house. He thought of sending everyone home, but then he realized that there was one thing that they hadn't yet tried. This is insane. He strips off all of his clothes. He is naked. He walks towards Lindsay. Linz, I want you to be comfortable. Come on, let's do this. Lohan shrieked. Paul! With an exclamation point. Pope heard the scream and ran from downstairs. He turns the corner, and there was naked Schrader. Pope let out a whoa and slowly backed out of the room. But then a funny thing happened. Lohan drops her robe. Schrader shouted, "Action!" And they filmed the scene in one 14-minute take. About halfway through, Lindsay Lohan looked directly into the camera, flashed a dirty, demented smile at Schrader. He smiles back. A few minutes later, Schrader yells, "Cut!" The crew packs up. Pope went in to check on Lindsay, and he noticed that she and Gavin had been drinking. This is like sick.
Yeah.
But it's like darkly funny. She had been drinking, which was understandable for a young woman shooting a sex scene with 3 porn stars. Quietly, Pope told Lohan that he could get her a driver to take her home, but she refused. She jumped into her Porsche, which was rented, by the way, and headed down the dark, narrow road towards the PCH. They all hoped that they would have a lead actress in the morning. This set, Ryan Murphy needs to get on this. Like, this needs to be a series. This is like the Poltergeist set.
It's interesting that in, I believe, 2022, actually, no, in 2025, civil court documents made public allegations made against Schrader by his assistant for sexual assault and sexual harassment. And I believe one of the things that she said was that he exposed himself in front of her.
What is it about men in Hollywood that expose themselves that way? Like, it feels so Hollywood. Like, it's like not how normal, like, blue-collar men assault women. It's how wealthy, powerful men assault women, which is like pull their dick out and just stare.
I think what it is it's sort of like playing chicken. It's maybe a way to sort of exert control to make someone feel sexually uncomfortable. It turns them on, but it's something where it's a lot easier to get away with. Like, you're more likely, like, if you're a powerful man and you expose yourself in front of an actress, you're maybe more likely to get away with it. Because I will also say, in acting, you're really, especially if you come from like a college program or the theater, the way you're sort of brought up in it is to be cool with nudity and to be cool with pushing boundaries and like, what, I expose myself, like, bleh, get over it. So I feel like especially when they're doing it to actresses, it's just sort of wanting to exert some sort of sexual power, but also not wanting it to be so far where they're definitely going to run to someone and tell.
Yeah, you're right. It's like a safe way to be like a slime ball. And I do think that there's something about like I think that men like that, like, they get turned on by women being uncomfortable. Like Harvey, like Harvey knew that he had like a deformed penis and like that his body was like repulsive. And I think that there was something about like the duality of like how much power he has versus how disgusting he is. And it's like,
Yeah.
you are this beautiful, French whatever model, Italian actress, or what, Rose McGowan or whatever. And like, I'm a disgusting pig with a deformed penis. And I want like the power imbalance of like watching them be mortified, but like maybe give in, and like watching like they like they like making women uncomfortable, I think.
Well, and I find it so interesting that the four-way sex scene, like, that was the one thing in her contract that she like had to do. And they keep talking about how like it was a 14-minute long scene. And then you watch the scene and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how in God's name did they even choreograph this as some 14-minute long shot, essentially, that they end up cutting up anyway? It's like, that seems so difficult to choreograph for no reason. Like, it feels like it's just supposed to be maybe a little titillating for him. And in context for Paul Schrader, at this point, he's like, he can't get any movies made. And he was this, big titan of the industry, did Taxi Driver, American Gigolo, all these other big movies. And now, towards the end of his life, he can't get anything made. And he's basically like, essentially like, this is my swan song to the movies. The movie opens with theaters that are abandoned, and it closes with pictures of theaters that are abandoned. And there's a scene where in the canyons where they're sitting at the restaurant and Lindsay's talking to the James Dean character's assistant, and she was like, do you even like movies? Does anyone like in this business like even like movies? Like, when was the last time you went to a movie in the theater? And the woman's like, oh, well, I went to this premiere and I really liked the movie. And she's like, premieres don't count. So I feel like this was also a man who was losing track of his career, his influence.
And like bitter.
And I think he looked at Lindsay and he's like, I want this one.
Yeah.
I want to see what I can get away with in this one.
With this broken bird. And like, listen, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking like, this girl's reputation at this point, like, not even just that she's difficult, but just that like, it's Lindsay Lohan and that he's a creep. And he even says something at the beginning where he's like, before they officially even like make the decision to cast her, he's like, well, I promise I won't fuck her.
Yeah. It says, the actress will get $100 a day and an equal share of the profits, but no vote in decision making. This last clause is non-negotiable. Schrader goes over some ground rules. No trailers on set and one contractually obligated four-way sex scene. Oh, another thing, Schrader adds, he will not try to sleep with her. This was probably a more relevant point in 1982, but no matter.
It's like that is so... It's just so unfortunately like of this time for Lindsay to be in a position like this, to be thought about in a movie like this, to be considered like not good enough for this. when in
Mhm.
reality she's like a $1 billion fucking box office star. Like, combine Mean Girls and all the stuff that she's done, she's made Disney an outrageous amount of money, and she's somehow gotten to the point where being in a movie with a fucking porn star who's never acted, that has a $200,000 budget, they're like, I don't know. When in reality, like, you know, in another world, they would be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we got Lindsay Lohan attached to this movie. Like, it just kind of shows how bad of a position she had like kind of gotten herself in.
It is also sad kind of looking at the movie when you think about just her being a child star and all the sort of probably sexually inappropriate situations she was put in,
Yeah.
especially with negligent parents. And
Mhm.
then to see like this woman who had all of this promise, and then she's clearly ill, and then her only option is to be in this movie where she's kind of being sexually taken advantage of.
Yeah. It's like uncomfortable because it's like life imitating art, you know? And they say that. Like, I mean, they say at the beginning, like, uh, when she does her first read, and where do they say it? They say Pope thought the talent was still there when it comes to Lindsay. She would make it through Liz and Dick, a Lifetime movie, with the paramedics only having to be called once during the shoot. This was progress. Besides, the Canyons was so low budget that they didn't need insurance. If she disappeared, Pope, Ellis, and Schrader would simply lose their stake. Lohan helped her cause by agreeing for a screen test. You could see playing Tara wouldn't be a stretch for her, which is a very
Mhm.
loaded statement. The
Yeah.
large green eyes that read as cute a decade ago now conveyed cornered desperation. That's a real mouthful.
Yeah.
That's really saying a lot. Like, yeah, it's not going to be a big stretch for her to play this like girl who's just like taken advantage of sexually by men and like chain smokes and, you know, has no like agency over her body. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like so dark.
And the way it ends, like Lindsay's character is just,
Yeah, she has no arc.
there's no arc.
She's just like a whore. And it really is like telling of how the creators of this movie view a woman like her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, Bret Easton Ellis, never one to respect a woman.
Before we end, can I just read? This was my favorite part of the article, and I just felt like I needed to save it for the end.
Please. Oh, and I will say, we never said who wrote this article. So,
Oh, hello.
Stephen Roderick. Stephen, great work.
Amazing work. You did a great job. I felt like I was there.
It's truly, you're in a world. It's
We
beautiful.
were in the canyons.
We were in the canyons.
So, as we've mentioned, you know, there's this fear that if they start rolling the cameras that Lindsay will just like go crazy. So they decide like we should like have like a chaperone for her. Like, because if she leaves, then like God only knows like where she'll go or if she comes back. So it says, and they also like they were trying to detour like riffraff, basically like people bringing her drugs.
Yeah.
So they're like, no visitors on set. And they're like, only Lindsay had a visitor on the first day in Malibu. It was Steve Honig, her publicist, a stubby, bald man in a denim shirt. That's how I want to be described.
That's how I describe you behind your back.
Yeah, you'll know him. He's stubby and bald. He always wears denim. He told Schrader having a reporter on set was unacceptable. Schrader told Honig that he understood and that if he wanted to pull Lindsay from the movie, he should do so. Honig backed down. Honig and I talked for a few minutes while the crew waited for the marine layer to lift. I don't want to be so funny. I love this. I don't want this to all be about Lindsay being late, Honig said. Actresses are always late. Julia Roberts is late. A few minutes later, the production broke for lunch. Lohan announced that she wanted to grab a bite somewhere in the Pacific Coast Highway. This concerned Pope and Schrader. They could monitor her as long as they could see her. So they dispatched the co-producer Ricky Horn Jr. to chauffeur Honig, Lohan, and her assistants to wherever they wanted to go. Horn drove them down the hill, pausing for a security gate. That's when the passengers did a jailbreak,
Love this.
jumping from the car. Honig frantically pushed buttons until the gate opened and the four of them dashed for Lohan's assistant's car. Horn sat baffled for a moment before heading back up the hill and briefing Schrader. The director was furious. Okay, she's lost privileges to leave for lunch. She stays here. Lohan returned only 15 minutes late. Hello. Emerging from makeup to an angry Schrader. They spent the afternoon arguing about continuity. Lindsay, you held a cigarette up in the last take. Now you have to take it down. Let's do it again. Lohan sighed. Now the shooting had begun. She had the power. Sorry, Paul. I guess you'll just have to fire me again. By midweek, Schrader and Lohan were locked in battle. One afternoon, he shot some of the lead up to the movie's pivotal sex scene. Lohan wasn't happy. I hope you get my triple chin on that one, Lohan said to no one directly. That shot was hideous. And I am just, first of all,
Get him, Lindsay.
No, like literally, I love it. Fuck that man. The plan to jump out of the car, the fact that they all had that planned is so fucking funny to me.
Troy, I can just picture it cinematically in my head and they're playing like, we are young, we run free. Like,
it's full montage, like sped up, like they have like shopping bags, like in Clueless, like it is so, and then I just love too that like she did understand, it's like she also knew, like they were trying to keep it from her that she had the power once they start filming.
Yeah.
But she also knew, so then her like best behavior was like done once the camera started rolling. She was like, fuck you.
And I think they also, they looked at her as a train wreck with talent, but also I think as an idiot. And I was like, no, she knows shit. Like this is not an idiot. This is a woman with some street smarts and a woman who likes to fuck with people.
Mm-hmm. Especially men.
And we must stand a queen.
I am obsessed. I am so happy that we talked about this.
Me too. Don't turn this off yet, you guys. So we asked everyone on Patreon if they wanted to ask any questions about this article, about anything related to it, that we would read it on air. But since we're kind of not getting to it right now, we wanted to do a bonus episode. So if you wanted to get in a question before we record that, you can subscribe to the Patreon and leave your question about the article, about this episode, anything you got, any comments, and we'll talk about it in our bonus. Sorry, I interrupted you, Troy. I just got so excited.
No, I'm glad that you did. And if you did leave a question already and you want to leave another one because you've now listened to this and have like more to say,
yes,
please feel free. You can leave more than one question.
Leave them all. We love talking about our girl.
I want to know other people's opinions about this movie. I mean, there has to be there must be people out there who really love the canyons and like really like see something in it maybe that other people don't see. Like, I want to know.
Watching a little bit of it today, I do, weirdly, this is a hot take that maybe no one will agree with. I kind of liked watching it because as maybe bad as Lindsay sort of looks, like the puffiness, the alcohol bloat, I kind of enjoy watching like the old Lindsay face for one last time. And I also don't think she looks that bad. I actually kind of like the makeup choice because they talk about the makeup in this article where they want to do more natural makeup on her. And then Lindsay's like, no, I'm doing this cat eye. I'm putting on all of this makeup. I kind of like it.
Well, okay, so they're like, and it's such a fucking man thing to be like, we like you natural, take off the red lipstick. And like, she had a vision for this character where she was like, no, like this girl is caked in makeup and bronzer and eyeliner and eyeshadow. And they thought it was too heavy and that it didn't make her look pretty. But I don't know if that was what being pretty is what she was going for. I think she wanted to look a little like Atlantic City, you know what I mean? She wanted to look a little trashy. And like, And then the article, they're like, the reason she did it is because she's trying to shy away from her Disney image. We are so fucking far beyond that. Are you kidding me?
And Lindsay is someone who thinks about character. She is someone who's into filmmaking. Like, she talks about wanting to get into directing. And we've talked about before how she directed the father to daughter music video.
Mm-hmm.
So she's someone who thinks about those things. And I think they're not really giving her the credit that maybe it was like a thoughtful character choice. Bitch.
Yeah, that's what I thought about. I thought about her saying in that one article, or no, I thought about on her own series when she says, if you only knew how many sets I show up at and I end up directing, and I'm the one that's choosing the looks and all the things and the makeup choices and the hair choices and the clothes, like I'm the one doing it and I don't get any credit. Like, I think that in her mind, she thinks that men are idiots and that they don't really get it. And like, yeah, I don't know if her being like barefaced and natural would have worked for her being this like turned out whore.
Well, please send in your questions because I'm not done talking about this.
I'll never be done. I will never be done talking about this. I am obsessed. It's so crazy to like have so little like connection to the movie itself, but like the making of the movie, I'm absolutely obsessed.
Obsessed. Well, anything else?
I don't think I have anything else. I guess just we have to do these quarterly Lindsay Lohan episodes. I think that she's our touchstone.
She is.
And I just like, it is what it is. Like, we just can't help it.
We just can't help it, baby. We love our Lilo.
And we love you. We love you so
Yes.
much. Thank
So
you for
much.
listening.
And we will see you next time, babies.
Bye.
Bye.